Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal and it's Sunday afternoon and welcome to you all. Hi there, Beth, good to see you here and glad that you got to work and back safely today. I know that you guys are all suffering from horrible ice storms and things, so we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but I'm glad you're safe. I just want to make sure for those of you who are watching for the first time, maybe watching on the replay, just so that you understand how the process works. What we do is we start off the broadcast with a little bit of news, views, and updates. We're like an extended family of people here. Hi, Jody, good to see you. And we sort of like to keep up to date with everybody. So that's what we're going to do. And then after that, we'll start the topic of the day. And what I decided today was to do some quotes from Mother Teresa, which I thought to myself, you know, why have I never done any of her quotes? So that's what I'm going to do. And if there was ever anybody who knew about Soul Sunday, I guess it was Mother Teresa. So I'm looking forward to doing some work around that. Now, for those of you, again, who've not watched the broadcast before, what we do is that we go through various quotes and then we talk about what it brings up for us today, this particular week. Understanding that we could do exactly the same quotes next week and people would have a different reaction because of the state they're in at that particular time. And I say state, you know, you're either in a peaceful state or a stressful one, or like me today, a total lack of sleep state. I think I had 2 hours. Hi, Carrie, good to see you, honey. And so this is me without any sleep that you see before you, well, with 2 hours sleep. Have you ever had that where you're sort of going, I woke up 2 hours after I went to sleep, and then I went back to bed with the idea of, turning over and going straight back to sleep, but apparently not. And, it gets to the stage where after 2 hours of trying to go back to sleep that you realize, hi, Joanna, good to see you. Maybe it's not worth it. I'm just going to go and make coffee now. And that's what I ended up doing. And so just in terms of our news, views, and updates, if any of you have got any news, please just start typing it. I wanted to let you know that Lauren is still in hospital, and as is her mum, as far as I know. And so we're sending thoughts and prayers for her. Any of you have got any spare prayers? I had a CAT scan this week, so I would really appreciate any spare prayers that you have that comes out clean. I was talking about the ice storms, and Jody was telling me that her cousin, Jody, correct me where I get this wrong, her cousin was out early in the morning, I think walking to work, and she slipped and fell on the ice and fell into the road and broke her arm and looked up to see a car heading straight for her. Now, I want to tell you something. That would sure wake you up, wouldn't it? And what Jody told me was that she fortunately managed to roll out of the way of the car with a broken arm. Shades of Ozzy, for any of you who remember Ozzy's story. I know that a couple of you will remember that. But, Jody, I really hope that she's okay. And I did ask Jody, was it her dominant arm that she broke? And the answer was yes, and she'll be off work for 4 months. Oh, that's right. We forgot about Lucas and his tooth that went missing in the middle of the night. We think the tooth fairy stole it. And Beth is saying Lucas got a $5 bill under his pillow from the tooth fairy. Wow, boy, inflation. He kept looking up and saying, thank you, fairy. How many of you can remember that? Yeah, I certainly can. So, Kerry, how are you feeling? I know that you haven't been feeling the best. And she'll find out Thursday she needs surgery. Thursday? That seems... Okay, so they've done the x-ray, I presume? Poor thing. I've had broken bones, so I know what that's like in the moment. I broke, for those of you who heard the story, I actually broke my leg, my ankle, whilst I was going over a jump with a horse. And what happened was that, if you can imagine, this is my foot in a stirrup. And my beautiful thoroughbred decided out of nowhere to take off for this jump at least a stride earlier than he'd ever taken off for a jump before in his life. So you understand, all my weight was down in my stirrups, and the last thing I expected was to be catapulted up. So my gravity was down, and he pushed, a 16-1 black thoroughbred, he pushed up with all his weight. And anyway, I was wearing very expensive riding boots from Harry Hall, and I refused to let them cut them. It was just like, they said, but you've broken your ankle. I said, I don't care. You can't cut them. I just paid, I think 50 years ago, I just paid $400 for them. Can you imagine what they probably go for today? I'd rather have the pain for that little while. Mind you, I regretted that, but I did manage to tolerate it. Okay, so Jody, I'm really, very, very sorry to hear that, and hopefully that she will be fine. I'm having a little bit of, if you find me drooling during this broadcast, please forgive me. I've got roast beef and Yorkshire pudding that's cooking, and I've already made the Yorkshire puddings, and they're keeping warm, and the roast beef smells so good. So never mind. All right, so Beth is saying on her update, she made it to open the store this morning, right, in 6 inches of snow and ice, and then had to use a de-ice in a can because the store door was stuck with ice. Yes, I never thought about that. You panicked, but you got in. I cannot, I cannot blame you. When you've got the responsibility for opening up a store and the whole door is iced, I think, you're lucky you had de-icer with you. Not everybody would think to have that with them. Though I'm not surprised that you did. You know what I mean? And so how many of you are surprised that she would have that with her? I've got a feeling if you opened up Beth's purse, yeah, something, Beth, it was so funny. I have great memories of being at work one day, and everybody suddenly came running into my office and said, Sal, we need you. And it was my boss, along with other people. And I said, why? And they said, we got a client who needs something, and you're the only one that we think will have what he needs. So I said, which is? And they said, jumper cables. I said, of course I got jumper cables. What single female doesn't go around with jumper cables? I said, apparently every single person, male and female, in the office, except Sal. And so not only did I have them, but I actually knew how to use them, which really blew the client away. I said, no problem. I know how to do it. Yeah, don't worry. Lordy, it was quite funny. Okay, so that's my bit of news. So be careful, everybody, for those of you who are caught up in that. I thought I saw in the moment that I was sort of half watching television that there was a terrible storm that hit the Louisiana area as well. And I meant to check on that because of Lolo. Did anybody else see that? Yeah, Beth, you know something? Your purse is a bottomless pit and everybody comes to you for stuff. Do you know, at 1 December, Beth, just so that you know, 1 December, Judy decided to do, a what's in my purse thing. And she called me to join in. And, my purse was more like a small size suitcase. And I actually didn't bother with the obvious stuff because I thought the obvious stuff would be boring. I think I pulled out a couple of bits of, a Kleenex or something like that. And then I started, Beth, like you will be amazed what I carry. I've got, because I'm a YouTuber, I've got extensions, extra cables. I've got extra power packs. Can you remember that, Jody? I had food. I had. I can't remember what else. You were crying, laughing. It's lovely to hear. But you know, it's about that's who I am, and you know, you're probably again not surprised to hear that. So Beth, I relate. Hi, Isabel. Good to see you from Montreal. Oh, are you still at Lac Saint Jean? Ah, you're probably still at the lake. Okay, so you see, Isabel, I've got it now. I think I've got it now, right? If you okay, we'll hear. And it was minus 40 the last time we spoke to you, Isabel. So let's hope that it warms up a bit for you. I, of course, have sunshine here in British Columbia today. We did have really bad rain overnight. Yes, I got it right. Yay! And it took how many months? But yeah, once I've got it, Isabel, you probably find out I'll probably remember it most of the time. Although I have to tell you, I still couldn't tell you where Beth's from. I got a feeling it's Kentucky or something like that. Oh my gosh, here she goes. So Beth saying, when a picture frame fell off the top of the shelf today and hit me on the head, I was prepared. I had an ice pack. You know, one of those ones you shake to get cold. Mind you, I'm accident prone, so I do have all sorts of first aids up. Kentucky. Did I get it right? What did I say? Did I say Kentucky? I should link you to a horse running the Derby, you probably call it, because then I would always know it, because you are like a thoroughbred. I'm getting so good. All right, so this is good stuff. So everybody, if we didn't hear. Right, so Kerry's going, Kerry's the walking pharmacy. She says if anybody has any aches, pains, headache, or dry throat, cough, whatever, they come to her because they know she's got stuff. Okay, obviously my two brain cells are going around in the right direction. They're probably in some sort of vortex at the moment, probably going around so fast. How many of you can see that in your mind? All right, so Jody, I'm going to call it at 12:30, sort of, and we're going to start the broadcast if nobody's got any more. I love it when I'm right. If nobody's got any more news, then I will start it. I just did want to, before I do that, though, just give you a couple of birthdays. Sorry. Yesterday was Maria's birthday. Do any of you remember Maria? I think she was from Malta or somewhere. And then we've got Erin's and Becca's coming up this week, as far as I know. So that is going to be fun. For those of you who missed the Friday broadcast, just in case you missed them, let me tell you that we did a really fun broadcast on Friday. And I'm trying to remember, we did quotes from, Napoleon Hill. And then we did Friday night, we were doing the emotional stuff, and that was quite a broadcast, I thought. We were talking about all the different things. It was part 2 of that broadcast on self-awareness, which is the first step of being emotionally intelligent. And we did a lot of quotes from Louise Hay. We did Oprah the week before, I think. We did Louise Hay this week, which was fascinating for some people who apparently hadn't seen her. All right, so Kerry is in Kansas, where the weather has been miserable. It rains, freezing, rain, snowing on Friday night into Saturday. Yeah. Okay, so we know it's been a rough time. Beth, have you heard of Louise Hay and the book that she wrote called You Can Heal Yourself? No, You Can Heal Your Life. And because it really was, quite fascinating for different people. And So I did put, yes, Jody, I did put the book up on the resource page, so that is there. What she says, or said, I don't think she's around anymore, I could be wrong, is that everything that happens to us, in our bodies is a reflection of what's happening to us in our mind. And the strange thing was, I said to Jody, let me have a look at what she says about the lymph system, because, Jody suffers from lymphoderma. And it was absolutely spot on for Jody. So I thought that was quite interesting. Kerry, what if you had to pick one of your many things, which of your ailments would you? I just want to demonstrate it for Beth, or even Beth if she's got any ailments going on. And now Kerry's probably good for a couple. Nope. Okay, I'll wait for a while and wait to see if that comes up. Yeah, it is fascinating. And, the strange thing is, I remember studying her stuff when I was probably in my 20s. I thought it was I thought it was interesting that you have a, hang on a second. Let me have a look for you here. All right, you're going to love this one. Are you ready for this, Beth? She passed away in August 7, 2017. I had a feeling she passed fairly recently. All right, here you go. Coughing. Have you ever had a dry, tickling, chronic cough that lasted for over a month? Would that describe it, Beth? So what do you think caused it? If you've ruled out any medical causes, you might have been straining too hard. Hang on a second. Is this from Louise here? Oh, here you go. Louise Hay said, coughing is a desire to bark at the world. So, is there something you're trying to tell the world that they're not listening to you? And that's the way to do it. Let me see what she says about headaches. For Carrie, just hold on a second. Headaches revolve around self-criticism. Did you know that, Carrie? Fear and invalidating yourself. Daniel R. Condren, author of Permanent Healing, suggests headaches and migraines could be a form of feeling pressured by factors that seem out of your control, and a conflict between right and wrong. Make any sense to you, Kerry, in your life at the moment? So your bones hurt. Okay, I'll do just one more and then I will. It sounds like flu to me. I've got that problem at the moment as well. Just bear with me and I'll get to it for you. Nearly there. Sorry, I just have to go to different places for different things. Bones. Nearly there. Bones, representing the structure of the universe. It's how you support and care for yourself. Okay, does it make sense to you at all, Kerry? So I've always said that if, you know, for example, I suffer from a lot from backache, and it means 9 times out of 10, you know, I'm not standing up for myself straight enough. Right. Yeah, you don't be angry, get it fixed, Beth. All right, because I believe that if you have to do that, that's part of your working day, right? And so you may want to speak to that area manager next time you get that area manager on the side and just have a little chat. I think you have every right to ask for that. All right, we're doing some quotes from Mother Teresa. I'm going to read the quote, and then if it brings up anything for you, let me know, and we'll discuss it. Mother Teresa said, "Love is a fruit in season at all times, and within the reach of every hand." What that brings up for me is we can choose love every day if we want to, right? We can choose to come from a, you know, we go back to Jerry Jampolsky and love is letting go of fear. We can choose to come from a place of anger, or we can choose to come from a place of love. And that is how we deal with people and how we deal with ourselves. So just be aware more so this year, because we're doing a lot of work on ourselves this year, about the fact that it's not just how you treat other people, it's how you treat yourself. How many of you beat up on yourself a great deal? And I have, you know, days like that as well, just so you know, you're not alone. What Mother Teresa said, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. Wow, Joanna. Joanna's saying, you know, Mama Sal, I still have my sticky note, love over fear. By the way, Joanna, has your life been happier since you've been looking at that every day? Yes, if we could believe in our ability, if we could believe in our infallibility, if we could believe in our luck and our judgment, our lives would be a lot happier, wouldn't they? You know, if we stop worrying about the past and stop worrying about the future and just get on with today, I think life would be a lot better. You know, there's part of me, just so that you know, I'm going to be going into downtown Vancouver this week to go and help Benji with something. And there's part of me going, you know, I wonder if I should do that and take the extra days, you know, to go and visit with him. You know, when I'm trying to get the last of the downsizing done. And then I went, you know, Sal, this is insane. You know, take the time. Small things are the things that, yeah, Beth, because they touch your soul. You see, for you, Beth, anybody that bothers to do something for you, you appreciate, because not very many people have. That's my feeling. And when I say you appreciate, you know, to you, I don't think you're the sort of person that can be bought with fancy presents and things. You know what I mean? I think somehow that you, you know, it's like there's a different level to your psyche, I think. Mother Teresa also said, and I think this is really cute. She said, I know God won't give me anything I can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. Have any of you ever felt like that? I have. You know, it's just like, really? Do you really want to trust me that much? Did any of you think of a situation where you went, you know, I supposedly don't get anything I can't handle, but I'm not sure about this one? And so the next time you get into that space, you know, just take a deep breath and go, okay, Don't know how to handle it, but I don't have to. I just know that I can. And I just need to keep putting one step in front of the other, and it'll solve itself somehow. God does not require us to succeed. He only requires us to try. That's what Mother Teresa said. So how many of you need to hear that? You know, it's not about pass and fail. It's about, did you do your best? And when we do our best every day, however little that might be, it's amazing how that works. Now, yesterday, I fought all day long because I wasn't feeling very well. I think I have the flu. I wasn't feeling very well, and I fought all day long because Saturday is my big day for getting a lot done with the downsizing. And I'm so close now. I'm so close I can see it. So I was so angry with myself that I wasn't feeling well. And I just went, getting angry with myself for not feeling well is hardly what you call productive. And so then I said to myself, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to feel like I did my best? Does that make sense to anybody? So in other words, I didn't have to do all that I wanted to do, but what did I need to do so that I could say I did my best? So there were a couple of things I wanted to do, and I did them plus 2 or 3 other things, of course. And then I went to bed because I reckoned, okay, I did my best. Now I can just relax. And of course, then I couldn't sleep. It was just ridiculous. So I think I slept some before midnight, but then after that, I just, had big problems. Now listen to this one, because I think this one we need to remember so often. She said, Mother Teresa, that is, I can do things you cannot. And you can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. That is so true, isn't it? That, we think about, oh gosh, so-and-so so clever, I can't do that. But, there are things that they can't do that you can. And so always be grateful for the things you are capable of doing. And Mother Teresa also said, be faithful in small things because it is in them that your strength lies. So even if you can't do a big thing this week, if you can't, let's say that you've got, do any of you know anybody that could probably do with a bit of TLC? Maybe you could do a small thing, like just pick up the phone and say, hi, I was thinking of you. Or if there's somebody that you can visit, just because you can, it might be worth doing this week. Or pick up, as I said, the phone. Yes, your mom. So do that and see what you can do. By the way, for those of you following my personal downsizing, I've nearly done my goal. My goal was to lose 5 pounds this week, this month. And I think I'm at about 4.6 pounds at the moment before I eat the roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. So that actually does amaze me, but I have really been so grateful. Beth, it's busy. I've decided to write the PDF of what I'm doing because I've got a feeling that there'll be other people who want to know how I've done what I'm doing. And it's funny, I quote you and Jody a lot when I'm writing the PDF because I realize all the little tricks that you gave me and Jody gave me really helped save me from having to do a diet and to be able to just do a lifestyle change. So I wanted to thank you so much. Beth says, I'm so grateful when customers bring in carts when they come into the store. They don't know that. I'm trying to do 3 jobs and would have had to run out to get the carts and then run back in again. Yes, absolutely. You're grateful for people. Hi, Linda. Good to see you. Right. So Kerry's beginning to get her routine going. She did the dishes last night and she's going to do the laundry after the cast. Well done, Kerry. I know that's one of the things that always gets left behind for you. And Mother Teresa said, prayer is not asking. Prayer is putting oneself in the hands of God at his disposition and listening to his voice in the depth of our hearts. How many of you remember when I was going to buy the 5th wheel? And I heard this absolutely amazing voice say, don't do this. Well, Jody, you cannot believe how, it's like, I know you guys say you can hear me. But, I can hear you, Jody, say to me, if you've eaten sweet, then you need some meat. I've got that in my mind so well. And it's sometimes I do it the other way. Sometimes I go, oh, I have just had 2 lots of protein. I probably get away with something a bit sweet now. I reckon if it works one way, it probably works the other as well. And so, I find that really fascinating. And, Beth with her pre-prepping of food and the good fats and the bad fats and things like that. It's funny, I can't remember quite now how many times I quoted Beth, but I know I keep, as I'm typing, I'm going, and as Beth told me, as well as Jody. So I really thank you both, because I would not have lost the weight if it hadn't been for your help. And I thank you for that. Now, this is a difficult one, so take a deep breath. But remember, Mother Teresa was a pretty upfront sort of lady, as far as I can recall. She said, being unwanted, unloved, uncared for, forgotten by everybody, I think that's a much greater hunger and a greater poverty than a person who has nothing to eat. So think about that. Who do you know that's feeling a bit outside the loop, doesn't fit in, feeling a bit down on themselves recently, see what you can do. And because Mother Teresa also said it is a kindly act to assist the fallen. Now, question, because you guys are getting this now, what is the difference between assisting the fallen and enabling them? Anybody want to give me the difference between assisting somebody who's down on their luck and enabling them? Can you think of an example? The reason I say that, because I'm amazed how many people have a problem with that. And I'm thinking about, if you came across a homeless person, what would you do? What do you do? Because I'm certain you've all got homeless people in your area. Yes, offering options instead of doing things for them, very important. Hold them that they're able to do things, right? The other thing is, quite often you'll see panhandlers asking for money. And I will always say, you say you want the money for the food, is that correct? Yeah, okay. I'm going to go into the Big Mac now. What would you like to eat? Right? Yeah, Beth, you see the same thing. I'm going to go to the Big Mac for you. What would you like to eat? Oh, you can just give me the money. I said, no, I want to make sure that you eat. That's my part. All right. So that is not enabling a drug habit. Right. Linda left a bag of goodies in the doorway of a shop where a guy always sleeps at night. What sort of things did you put in there, Linda? That doesn't surprise me with you at all. I was hearing from somebody that helps people on the street that if you're going to give clothes, give dark clothes. Did you know that? If you're going to give them socks or a scarf, gloves, food, good for you, Linda. All right. So it was very interesting that I heard from the people who help people on the streets, that try not to give them stuff where they will stand out because, that gets them attacked. They like dark things so they can't be seen. And I thought that was interesting. I'd never thought about that. So, however nice the white scarf is, they probably will wear it underneath something rather than have it showing. Yeah, Kerry's saying that she helped Mike pass out some things to homeless people. His church does things like that. How did you feel when you're doing it, Kerry? It's because it's one of the things I always say to people is that, I'm really not that noble. Yeah, it felt good. Yeah, I quite agree. I always say to people, I'm really not that noble. I really get great joy out of doing it. Therefore, it's worth doing. It was the same way I was saying that when I was at the hospital, I stopped to talk to that lady who looked so terrified, lying in the gurney, waiting to go into the CAT scan. It wasn't that noble. It was, I knew that I would get a reward. That isn't why I did it, but I understood that by taking the time to stop and pass some love her way would help my day as well. Beth says, my husband buys the Sunday paper at the four-way stop, and when it's cold, he gets the man a hot chocolate when he buys the paper. Isn't that nice? He's a nice person, our Charles. Yeah, you gave out toiletry, towels, clothes, shoes, food. That's great. All right, and you paid for breakfast. Isn't that wonderful, Linda? Well done. To hand in the morning. Okay, yes, and more and more companies are beginning to let you do that, right? That you can buy a coffee for a homeless person. Have any of you done that? Where they actually encourage that you can actually, put in an IOU for a coffee for a homeless person. And you know what Mother Teresa also said, which I think is vitally important to us all? Don't wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. So think about this week, who did you do something nice for? And I tried to remember what I did this week. I can't remember what it was now, but the person was stunned that I did it. And I said, oh, hey, pay it forward. It was just like, don't be stunned that I did that, but just, pay it forward. I can't remember what it was I did. It's not really important. But it was just like, hey, if you appreciated it, then do it for somebody else. Yes, it's interesting. Kerry's saying she's helped at the church do things called Operation Laundry. They go to different laundromats and pay for like 3 loads of clothes and hand out pizza. Excellent. By the way, my community has a homeless people's bathroom. When I say bathroom, I mean not just a toilet, but it has showers and, a place where they can do laundry and, have a shower. And do any of you have that in your neighborhoods? I think it's such a great idea to help people feel normal as far as possible. And by the way, if you don't have it in your community, maybe you could start thinking about how could you arrange to have it. I'm not sure how many we have, funnily enough. I know where there's one because it's near somewhere that I go to shop quite often. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't understand why there were these signs for a bathroom, with a picture of a bath and a shower and everything else. And I'm going, And I asked somebody and they told me that's what it was. And I went, wow, what a great idea. What a great idea. When it's really cold and you can go and have a warm shower. Yeah, so have Lionel suggest it when he goes to the church, right? Yes, Linda said, and I see that this is the important part, isn't it, Linda? I found out today that my auntie had died. And I'm sorry to hear that, Linda. Our condolences to you. She always did things like this. So I just felt I needed to. Did any of you see? I mean, I'm crying even talking about it. Did any of you see the picture of the guy that got arrested and he had 2 children in the car? I'm going to start with that because that was the groundwork of what I'm about to tell you. But you know how the police say, get out of the car, put your hands in the air, the things that they say, right? And so the cops did this to the mother and the father, and they had reason to stop this car. And the next thing that happened that they didn't see was a little toddler, like one and a half, got out of the car and immediately put their hands up and started to walk towards me, was what the policeman said. And this little 1.5-year-old is literally got her hands up walking towards the officer. And luckily, the officer had it on his body cam. And that's why they're saying it's so good now that they have body cams, because it tells the rest of the story. Because as soon as the policeman saw the little toddler doing that, he said, hey, honey, you don't have to do that. You can put your arms down, but you can come here and everything's fine. It was just, you can imagine this little, I just thought that was so incredible. So Linda, yes, keep paying it forward. And Linda, you in turn will be the role model for somebody in your life. Do you understand? The same way as your aunt by her behavior, monkey see, monkey do. If you keep doing that in your life, you will encourage somebody else to do it. And I think that for that, you are a blessing to the world. Mother Teresa also said, and listen up, people, everybody today seems to be in such a terrible rush. They're anxious for greater developments, greater riches, and so on. So that children have very little time for their parents. Parents have very little time for each other. And the home begins the disruption of the peace of the world. Parents have very little time for each other, and in the home begins the disruption of the peace of the world. Wow. How many of you can feel that one? When we are so busy, we don't have time for one another, that we can't make the time for one another, that we can't stop and talk to one another. There's something wrong in our world. And the sad thing is that we then pass that on to other people. We teach our children how to behave. We teach our children, that you're not effective unless you're this busy. And I know that, there was a time in my life, as you know, that I inherited 3 children. And my greatest joy was to actually stop my world and just go, okay, everything stop for a second. And then I'd sit down and I'd go, okay, everybody, tell me what you want to tell me. So that so Linda's saying she's made the family have movie night. No phones answered or mobiles used. Just put the phones in a basket. You can get them when the movie's over. Yeah, very important. I think I told you, Linda, that I went to dinner with some people one night, and they had a lot of teenagers, both their own and the guests. And that's why they invited me, because they know teenagers enjoy me for some reason. And, it was really funny, because that was the first thing they did, was hand around a basket. Everybody threw their phones in, and the phones left the room. So you could not hear them going, which I thought was really clever. And when you finished the meal and, been polite and finished the meal, all the courses, and done the social chit chat, then you can leave the table and go get your phone. I thought it was incredible. Mother Teresa also said, good works are links that form a chain of love. Good works are links that form a chain of love. Ah, listen to this one. This is so cute. She said, I'm a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter to the world. Isn't that beautiful? I'm a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter to the world. I think that is so cute. She also said, and we're talking Mother Teresa here for those of you who are just joining in, I am not sure exactly what heaven will be like, but I don't know that when we die and it comes time for God to judge us, he will not ask, how many good things have you done in your life? Rather, he will ask, how much love did you put into what you did? How much love did you put into what you did? Not how successful were you? And were people's lives better for meeting you? Did they feel more at peace with the world because you appreciated them in it? And if so, that is extremely soulful, and that is extremely loving. And here was a paradox of which she spoke. She said, I have found the paradox that if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love. Now, I want you to talk to that a little bit. How many of you have been through heartbreak? Because if you have, that probably doesn't ring true to you. That if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love. But what actually happens is, if we really love the other person until it hurts, we would want them to go and be happy with somebody else if they're not happy with us. Does that make any sense? But we are devastated because we see it as some sort of reflection of ourselves. And believe you me, I was an expert. And now I must admit, I am a lot better at it. And by the way, YouTube has helped me a great deal because, I can actually watch a hater on YouTube say something really nasty about me, or a viewer. And I'm, sometimes I still have a problem with when it's live viewing, but I can do it with a hater on a comment quite easily, because I just literally thank them for leaving me the input. And I'm quite okay with that. I'm not asking everybody to like me or agree with what I do. I don't think it's necessary anymore. I used to. So it's okay if you don't like me. And have you ever thought about, it takes quite a lot of courage to actually write that. Unless, of course, you think that you can't be found, which is not true. You can be found. If you can't feed 100 people, Mother Teresa said, then feed just one. I can remember once being really down on my luck, and I really have to tell you this. I can see this as it was yesterday. I was really down on my luck and I was struggling. And I was doing a course of some sort that I, had already paid for. And the person sitting next to me somehow or other found out that I was in a bad way. And the next time the group got together, this husband and wife team handed me an envelope. And I said, "What's this?" And they said, "Oh, it's for you." And it was $100 gift certificate for Safeway. And I was absolutely stunned. I hardly knew them. And yet they were willing to give me $100 worth of groceries so that I would be okay. And, that to me was, I keep that in my mind. That's a real pay it forward thing for me, because, I said, not only will I pay that forward, I'll pay it forward with bells on, because I really felt the love in that. Mother Teresa said, "I try to give to the poor people for love what the rich people could get for money. No, I wouldn't touch a leper for £1,000, and yet I'd willingly cure him for the love of God." So do you understand that if you do things just for the money, that is different? If you do it just because you are that loving, that is a whole different thing. And she said, "I want you to be concerned about your next door neighbor. Do you know your next door neighbor?" Did I tell you the story about my next door neighbor and the Christmas present? It was quite funny. All right, what she said was, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other." How many of you feel connected in some way, even within DearMamaSal? That you think, and hopefully rightfully so, that other people care about whether you wake up in the morning, or that you had a good week, or that your cousin is okay, or that Lauren gets her wheelchair. It's really important to know that you can really have people who care about you. It won't be the same, but it is okay. The story about the neighbor. Okay, I was downsizing Yeah, Beth did the same thing. Beth went and made a coffee with caramel on top. Thanks, Linda. So anyway, I've got this neighbor, and he built a garden shed right on my fence, my property fence. And I noticed that very soon after that, there was this aroma of weed, coming from that particular shed. And this was in the days when smoking pot wasn't legal here. And so, I had to smile because I went, he specially built this shed so he could go and have a toke. But he built it right on my property line. So, I didn't get a choice but to have the smell of weed in my house. But I decided to be the neighbor and not complain about it because I just didn't think it was worth complaining about, quite honestly. Anyway, here was the funny thing. Weed became legal. And so now here was the joke. And I'm downsizing. I found this great sign that I had. It's like one of those signs that goes like this, and it sort of has this sort of arch on it. And it was the real honest drugstore. And I don't know where I'd picked this up in my travels. And I thought, boy, do I know the right place for this now? So what I did was, when I wrapped up the Christmas, baking and stuff that I send over every year, I put this on top and wrapped it all around with the other presents that I sent over. And I met him about a week ago, I guess, or so. And I said to him, "Did you get the present?" And he said, "Oh yeah, thank you so much for everything." And he said, "We really enjoyed it all." I said, "Did you laugh?" Oh, he said, "Oh yeah." He said, "I really laughed because I knew exactly where that was going." And I said, "Yeah, I know, so did I." And he said, "It's funny, Sal, only you would think of it." And I said, "Well, I'm sitting here, I'm downsizing, I can throw it out, or I know." But my attitude was, I know exactly where this belongs now. So it was a nice moment. And then I asked him to come and help me move the television set downstairs because I couldn't lift it. And, an older one. Now, listen to this one and tell me if you believe this to be true. Mother Teresa said, "It is easy to love people far away. It is not always easy to love those close to us. It's easier to give a cup of rice to relieve hunger than to relieve the loneliness and pain of someone unloved in your own home. Bring love into your home, for this is where our love for each other must start." Now, I'm pretty sure, because I know some of you fairly well, that you are pretty good about bringing love into your own home. But I would encourage you then to please bring love to yourself more often. Slow down. Take the time to enjoy 10 minutes of your life. I actually accidentally downloaded a jigsaw puzzle game app, and it plays the most incredibly great meditation type music. And so what I find myself doing is actually doing the jigsaw puzzle because it slows me down. And I so enjoy the music, and I realize when I do that, I'm giving a gift to myself. So I that's the sort of thing I mean, that it just slows everything down. It's beautiful. Intense love does not measure. It just gives. Intense love does not measure. It's not like, well, it's your turn to love me now because I did this, that, and the other. No. Intense love does not measure. It just gives. I always say to people that if we continue to give as much love in our relationships as we did when we're dating, then we'd have a lot less divorces. And that was a lesson to myself when I first started to say that, because I noticed that I wasn't treated the same way once I got married. I was treated a very different way. And I allowed my anger about that to affect the way that I in turn loved. And I can see that quite clearly now. And it was like, yeah, I had a good reason, if you want to be right, but I could have chosen the higher road. I could have continued to just be who I am. And I think at some level it changed me. I wonder if that makes sense. I didn't feel that I saw the world in the same way anymore. Mother Teresa said, "It is not the magnitude of our actions, but the amount of love that is put into them that matters." Jody, you know what I'm thinking about, right? And for those of you who don't know, our Lauren, sitting in hospital at the moment, is a big fan of one of the Irish type tenors. And Jody said to me, let's send her a pendant of this guy. So I said, what a great idea. I can do that because I can do it with my machine and everything. So I don't know if any of you understand this, but I ended up making the pendant, and then I made a card to match the pendant, and then, then a bookmark to match the card that matches the pendant, and it went on forever. And it took me, how long, Jody? 3 days just to make the card. Now, it was like, there was so much love in that I thought it was amazing, but I had so much fun doing it, and I learned so much doing it. Kiri's saying, Mike proved to me not all men are the same, and for that I am grateful. Yes, exactly. You kissed a lot of frogs before you found that prince, right? Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. Yeah, it was, Jody, it was funny because I don't mind telling you, around about day 1.5, I'm going, would have been quicker just to go out and buy this card. And I'm going, no, it wouldn't be the same. And it just wouldn't be the same. And when we saw how much joy she got from it when she received it, I was glad that we did it. But in doing it, I learned a lot of tricks that I didn't know before. So I was, like all things in life, if you put enough effort into it, you'll end up not only doing what you want to do, but then some. Let us always meet each other with a smile, for the smile is the beginning of love. For anyone who's got a dog, right? I have, all my years of having a dog, I never saw my dog unhappy to see me come home. Right? Now, actually, I lie. There was one time when the dog that I had did something particularly bad. And when I came home, I knew something terrible had happened because he wasn't there with the unconditional love that normally I got every day. And I just went, what's he done? And I literally went around the house to find out what he had done. I can remember having one dog that was fine if I went out on a date, but didn't like it if I was out late past midnight. Now, dogs have an alarm clock. Have you noticed that? I'm sure Kerry knows this with Dora, and Jody knows this as well, but they've got an internal clock. They know exactly what time it is. And if I came back after midnight, I would find that my pillow was torn apart or my duvet. Either way, they were filled with feathers, so you can imagine what it looked like. I mended my duvet so many times, it was ridiculous. But he was sending me a message, don't stay out late, you know. Mother Teresa said, let us touch the dying, the poor, the lonely, the unwanted, according to the graces we have received. And let us not be ashamed to show, let us not be ashamed or slow to do the humble work. I think that was the thing that always amazed me about Mother Teresa, was that she never asked that you have faith if you wanted to work with her. Did you know that? Her question was not, do you have faith? The only thing that she asked of people who worked with her was that they could do everything with joy. Whether it was cleaning a toilet or scrubbing a floor or helping somebody who was ill, physically ill, if you could do it with joy, then you were the person she wanted. Yeah, Kerry's saying that Dora had struggle. Dora's good at the glance, and I feel horrible. It's like, I like being at home by a certain time. Yeah, they really have a way of telling you, don't they? Anybody who says to me, you know, they're dumb animals, I'm going, you haven't met my dog, that's for sure. Our life of poverty is as necessary as the work itself. Only in heaven will we see how much we owe to the poor for helping us to love God better because of them. How many of you have found out what love is through people who probably had the least reason in the world to give it? And that to me is what she's talking about. That people with, I've always said that the happiest people I ever saw in my life were the African people I met in the Bundu, you know, out in the sticks, where they, you know, they hadn't seen a car like mine, that's for sure. You know, sleeping on mud and having to walk to get wood and water. But boy, they were happy, you know, in a way that you cannot see in society today. Yeah, Kerry's learned to get home by 11 and put the favorites away, right? Jody's saying, why does that make me emotional? Hearing that really affects me. That all she asked was you bring joy in whatever you're doing. How humbling, yes. Jody, that's why I thought it would be a really nice thing to quote her on some things, because she really understood at a very deep level. And anybody who thought she was too humble to make a difference, I don't know if any of you remember when she went to the UN and asked for money. Did any of you hear that speech that she gave? I mean, I don't have it verbatim, but all I remember was bursting out laughing, and I'm thinking, this is Mother Teresa now. Talk about a salesman. She was just unbelievable. And she stood there. You know what they say in sales is, you know, you need to ask for the order. Well, she kept saying, are you guys going to give me the money? Because I need it. My people back in India need it. I need your money. You know, it was just like, it wasn't like, you know, God will like you if you do this. It was just like, divvy up, people, get your hands into your pockets. She didn't care where the money came from. Just, I need this money. And so I thought it was brilliant. I just went, yeah, no flies on that one. Peace begins with a smile. That's what she said. Peace begins with a smile. Again, something that I saw on the news that frightened me. I don't know if any of you saw it, but there was a native Indian doing the drum and the chant thing. And a white supremacist walked right up to him, within breathing distance, if you know what I mean by that. I mean, you'd know whether he had bad breath. It was that close. And it was interesting because he was smiling at a smile of disgust, not a smile, not a loving smile. And it was really interesting because the guy, when he was interviewed, the elder said, I put myself in harm's way and didn't realize it at the time. But once I was there, I was not backing down. In other words, that he realized he had put his life at risk. And these were teenage boys. I mean, what has happened to our society? I don't know. Mother Teresa said, we ourselves feel that what we are doing is just a drop in the bucket. But the ocean would be less because of that missing drop. Don't ever feel that what you are doing is not making a difference. By helping one person, stopping to smile at one person, helping one person cross the road, doing one good deed will help the world. And if we all did it every day, this world will be a much better place. I wonder how many of you, I ask this not because I want to see you stand in the line of fire, but I wonder if any of you have ever seen anybody being mistreated in some way and have stopped and corrected the problem because you can. And there's a program about that now, isn't there? I think called What Would You Do? And it's amazing to me how many times it is the women of the world who actually confront these bullies. It's the women who stop and confront bullies, not the men. The men are embarrassed. No, don't get involved, don't get involved. And the women are going, that's not right. I have to do something. And they get up and do something. And I think it is our responsibility to the world that in which we now live, that those of us who understand what love is, that let's give more of it. Well, Linda, I can imagine it. Linda's saying, oh boy, yeah. But I'm hot-headed and I won't tolerate bullies. Yes. You see, I do believe that if we did that, wow. Retta Vision, welcome. Says, I miss my mom and dad so much. My dad was mistreated in a nursing home and I took him out. Now, did you take out the person who was mistreating? Or did you take your dad out of the nursing home? I got a feeling you took the person who was doing the abuse, but I could be wrong. I am not suggesting violence in any way here, people, because that in itself would be contrary. But yes, stand up for what is right. I do believe that. I must admit, there have been so many times I've done that in my life and I get myself into all sorts of trouble because of it, but I know I'm not going to stop. You reported them. Yay. Yep. That's right. I'm proud of you. It takes courage to do that. And thank you. Retta Vision, are you a regular listener? Because I don't think I've seen your name before. And just as we start to wind down for the close and get ourselves ready for this week, here are a couple of things she said about joy. Joy is a prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love, and joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls, right? One of the greatest diseases is to be nobody to anybody. Well, I always love the ghost listener. Vision, I thank you so much for being here. I always say, I'm always amazed when people say to me, I've been listening to you for 3 months, or one person 3 years, and it's just like, it's amazing how people come. And I'd like to say welcome, and I'll let people tell you roughly how old they are and where they're from, in case you don't know. But if you've been listening for a while, then you probably know quite a few of them. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here. And it's Loretta from St. Louis, Missouri. Missouri. Do I say Missouri or Missouri? There we go. Well, we're delighted to have you here anyway. So Mother Teresa said, please choose the way of peace. In short term, there may be winners and losers in this war that we all dread. But there can never never will justify the suffering, pain, and loss of life that your weapons will cause. So agree with that. Even the rich are hungry for love, being cared for, being wanted, for having someone to call their own. And she said, we fear the future because we're wasting today. And now, here are a couple of really great ones. If you are humble, nothing will touch you, neither praise nor disgrace, because you know what you are. That is so true, isn't it? If you're really at peace with yourself, what anybody says, remember Terry Cole Whitaker saying, what you think of me is none of my business? Do ordinary things with extraordinary love. Do ordinary things with extraordinary love. Be happy in the moment. That's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. Be happy in the moment. I don't think I can top that one. So if you can maybe have that as your mantra for this week, right? To be happy in the moment, whatever's going on around you. Just be happy for the moment. So, all of you, thank you for being here. I want to say that I was going to do quotes from Michelle Obama today, and I heard a voice in my head say, no, Michelle can wait. Today, you need to do quotes from Mother Teresa. So I went, okay, fine. And so if there's anybody there out there in the big world that's listening, or here in the room with us, that needed to hear Mother Teresa today, know that the message got through. And it is really strange because I had it all set up, had all the quotes ready, everything to do Mother Teresa. And I just heard this voice say, no, today you need to do Michelle Obama, rather. And I just heard this voice say, no, today you need to do Mother Teresa. And I went, okay, I can do that. You needed it, Linda. What did you need to hear? Can you think back? And the main message that I would give around this is let's slow down this week. Let's slow ourselves down. What's for dinner again? Yes, well, you didn't ask. Oh, yes, I did tell you. Yeah. It's beef pot roast with Yorkshire pudding and all the trimmings. And so it's going to be difficult for me to keep to my carbs today. But you see, I allow myself Sunday dinner. I just don't have seconds. The seconds I pack up for another meal, whereas normally I'd have seconds every time on a Sunday. I just allow myself one, not two. So Linda's saying she had issues with the aunt and family, cousins, etc. I needed to stay in the moment and not the drama that's coming. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Linda. Yeah, it's thank you. Jody's saying round of applause for me because I am here with 2 hours sleep. Well, you know something, it is important. Yeah, thank you for this, Loretta. I really appreciate it. You'll be amazed how much I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. So for the rest of you, thank you so much for being here. And please look after one another. Loretta, our hugs go back to you. And it's wonderful to have you come in. And don't be a stranger. Come back again. Jody will remember where you're from. I'm still trying to find out if it's Missouri or Missouri. I'm going to get it in a minute. I believe it depends where you live in that state. Is that right? As to how you pronounce it. Isn't Springfield in your neck of the woods? That must have been where I heard that when I was down in Springfield eating the custard. Wow. Andes, I think it was called. Oh, that was so good. Missouri. Really? Wow. Springfield, that's what I thought. And Andy's custard. That's what I remember. Isn't that amazing? I had it every day that I was there. Literally, every day I was there, I had some of Andy's custard, frozen custard. So good. All right, everybody. So I wish you a very peaceful week. And what will make it peaceful? We will. The way in which we deal with it will make it peaceful. So have a wonderful week. I may or may not broadcast next weekend. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be helping Missouri is the proper way. That's what I heard. Thank you. And see, I listen to the people when I'm visiting there. As I was saying, I may not do a broadcast next week because I'm going to be going down to downtown Vancouver to help Benji. And I'm never quite sure what he will want me to do, whether I'll be able to broadcast or not. So could I just say that if I am capable of doing a broadcast, I will do so. And you'll see the notice go up. But if you don't see the notice go up, I will probably put up a notice to remind you that I'm not going to be able to do a broadcast. And again, I'm not sure whether I will be home by Saturday night or whether I will still be with him on Sunday. And that's my other problem, that I know I'm going to be with him on Friday, but will I still be doing stuff with him on Sunday? I'm not sure. But he does get my full attention because he asked for it. So that's when I say full attention, he particularly asked me to go and help him with this event. So I'm going to do that. All right, everybody. So have a super week, maybe 2 weeks, and look after one another. But as usual, please, please, please remember to look after yourselves. And above all, Keep control of you. Stay in a place of love. And stay in a place of just staying out of the line of fire of the people that don't have love. Big hugs. Be careful out there. If you're in the ice storm area, please be careful. Take it easy. Listen to what Beth has told us. If you're in the ice storm area, make sure you carry your de-icer with you. That's a really kind thought that Charles made sure it was in her car. And I would just recommend anybody, whether you're in a car or not, you never know what you might need it. You might need it to help somebody else. So carry some de-icer with you if you're out in that ice storm. Be careful, but have fun. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for listening. Loretta, thank you for joining in. And the rest of you, thank you as usual for being here. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now. Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding calls.